Hi, and welcome to the Fierce Voice Podcast. I'm your host, Brigette Gildemaster. This is a podcast for those who are ready to leave behind survival mode after abuse, where we talk about what it looks like to embody who you are as an individual, learn to love yourself, and bring to light healing after surviving abuse from relationships and religion. Pop your earbuds in to hear heartfelt and powerful intensity from myself and guests. Be ready to put into place actual tools and gather insight for you to use on your healing journey. Hello and welcome back to the Fierce Voice Podcast. I'm your host, Brigette Gildemaster. Welcome to 2024. And while we are only 2 days into January when this airs, I do want to talk about New Year's resolutions, your word of the year, a reflection on 2023, and some tools and tactics and tricks and mindsets that we can carry with us into the new year. So for me, the biggest thing I want to stress to everyone out there right now is that if you just survived 2023, be so proud of yourself that you are here, because it was really hard for a lot of people. I know for me, it definitely wasn't. There were parts of it that were the hardest things I've ever had to go through, but a year as a whole, there were some of the best things I've ever experienced. But I do know for a lot of people, it was one of the hardest years they've ever been through. And because of that, I want you to acknowledge you and be proud of you, because I'm proud of you. No matter what you've been through, no matter the mindsets you've come through, no matter the struggles you're having, the mental struggles you're having, tangible struggles you're having, be proud of you and where you are, and hold on to her and give her a big hug, give her a big pat on the back, and just be so freaking proud of you, because it's hard. Life is so hard, and we live in a reality that is very demanding, very upside down, and we're all learning. And um you deserve to be proud of you. And if that's what you come out of 2023 knowing and believing, you have made the biggest accomplishment of all. So that is something I really want to keep in mind in this podcast. So while I had some amazing moments, and I'm going to share those and how those came about in my healing journey, for me in 2023, I do want to acknowledge that not every year is like that for everyone, and we all have these seasons. And I look to have more seasons of, yeah, that year sucked, because that's what growth is. That's what this journey is. That's what this healing roller coaster is all about. But these good days, being on this side of the healing of the growth, is what makes it all worth it. And I will go through it over and over again to be standing right here where I am with the life I'm living. And I just want to encourage you in that. Get connected, get community, and get through it, because it's worth it. So 2023 for me was in reflection, it was a year of experiences. I went into 2023 knowing I needed more out of my life. I needed to be experiencing things. I needed more opportunities. I needed to go forward knowing that if I wanted to do something, I could. I was in a very small town. Not much to do. I joke a lot of times we had one hiking trail. We had a few more, but in reality, that we really only had one hiking trail that wasn't across the prairie. And so, there was so much, and especially in the northern states, when there's winter 9 months out of the year, there wasn't a lot to do. And I was working full time and all of that, and just knowing I wanted my kids to experience more, to have opportunities to experience more the way I had grown up. I had grown up being able to go hiking. I had, multiple different trails. I had grown up with the opportunity of going to different events and hearing about different things. And I felt I was in a time when I really was starting to own my worldview, and own what I was believing about the patriarchy, some beliefs about God and the Bible, where I was finally owning those things and realizing that I lived in a very high control area for those kinds of things. But things were very much the person who was in charge was the person who was in charge, and you weren't really going to be going anywhere anytime soon, especially at my age in a lot of different areas. And so I took it upon myself to be like, this is the year of experiences. And I had no idea where it would lead me. But I just was like, we're going to start saying yes to more opportunities. We're going to get up. We're going to go out. We're going to just do the damn thing. And we did. The first part of the year, we did not. It actually made me to realize how all those limiting things I just said that I was experiencing in this area. And there weren't any opportunities to say yes to. There weren't the possibilities of going on a different activity or taking my kids somewhere to experience even just normal everyday things, I feel like, especially in our modern society in America, you know? And so it led me to believe, or to know I needed to move, and I needed to move somewhere where there were more opportunities. And so we did. Um, and it's been amazing. If you've watched a reel I recently posted on my Facebook page of our year in 90 seconds, there isn't even doesn't really even begin to tap everything we did, because on a lot of these experiences, I left my phone in the car so that it wasn't a distraction. I couldn't fit the photos in 90 seconds. So there are so many events that were left out, but there were also so many things that it was mindset work. And there was no more fear of doing things. I'm a single mom of 4 kids, one only being, well, I guess she'll be 19 months now, but like I've always had this fear of not being able to do things, not being able to accomplish things, not being able to navigate things. My kids causing problems because the older three were always 3 under 2.5. And so whenever I would go anywhere, it was always this whole big ordeal. Is this woman and all these children, because they were little and it is just the way it was. And instead of being supported and, offered help or a just safe environment, because you know how kids, they just do. They know when they're not safe and they know when they're not supported. They know when they're not welcome, just like any other human being. We as adults know that in our own intuition. You walk into a room and you can feel the energy of whether you're welcome or not. And so that kids pick up on that, and so therefore they would act more rambunctious or wild or whatever it was. And it was a huge struggle for me because I wasn't supposed to be a single mom. I wasn't supposed to be doing the thing all by myself. I wasn't supposed to be walking into every room or every event or every church service as a single mom with 3 kids. And so it was a lot of internal work for me to work through that and own that for myself, of that I was a single mom and it was okay. And these are how kids behave, you know, um, especially in so many church services we dealt with when they were younger, they weren't allowed to be in church and sit quietly in church, and different things like that. And, you know, there's a lot of shame and guilt around that for me. And so I struggled a lot taking my kids out. I made myself do it. I'd make myself take them to the grocery store. I'd make them, I would go to church. We would do the things. But if there was something extra I didn't have to do, I wouldn't do it. I would find a babysitter. I would leave them with someone whenever I could, because it just made my nervous system more at ease. And so in saying yes to that, my mindset work of also having my kids with me and just it being okay, and we're going out and we're doing it, changed in a lot of ways. And my kids are older now. Fritz obviously is like 8.5. Then will be 6 here, Millie 7.5. And so that has changed drastically as well because they're older. And then the baby just tags along. She's a really good kid. And I have 3 helpers now too. They're able to watch her and whatever. But it really was the environment that changed. The environment and the acceptance and the uneasiness when we walk into a room. Now we're accepted where we go, and people are excited to see us, and they have rambunctious kids, and we're just human. And there's not that feeling of awkwardness or whatever going on as well. Our circles have changed for the better. And all because I chose to say yes. I chose to say yes to opportunities and experience, and to say yes to myself, to say yes to my gut intuition and saying, this is not okay for us. This is not how we are going to thrive anymore, or we are not thriving rather. And this is how we are going to thrive. It all changed. It all changed because of that, my word of the year for 2023. When in reality, I just wanted to make sure my kids, you know, went rollerblading and rode bikes a little bit more, and, touched an alligator, and, we went on some different hiking experiences, or we went sledding, or, we were able to, go on a 3-day vacation easier, or, just these simple little things were really what I only had in mind, that we didn't have the opportunities to do where we were. And it led to this big thing. So while in that reel, and I said this in my caption, but while a lot of those moments don't look like anything amazing because they are just out in nature, or you can't tell where we are, but because it's just a picture of the kids, but they mean so much to me. Each one of those photos represents so much in this life now that we're living, compared to where we were for so long. And I mean, even longer than where we were living in that location, but the environment I've been surrounded by for 10 plus years. And these photos, seeing my kids do and play and be, means so much to me. Fritz especially is he is, for those of you that don't know, he's my heart baby. He had, lots of medical issues when he was a baby. And so he was in and out of the hospital the first year of his life with 3 open heart surgeries and all of that. And then after that first year, he was on a trach and a ventilator. And so he had a 3-foot cord where that he couldn't go past for a very long time. I think it was 8 months. And, so there was that. And then, so then he had to learn to walk. I mean, he could stand up and stuff, but you can't really learn to walk in that instance. And so, he didn't learn to walk until later, and, all these things. And so he has sensory issues. He has been afraid of things. Like, it took him a while to be on a swing. He was, I want to say he was 5 or almost even 6 by the time he went down a slide. And I'm talking just the little kid slides on the playground. You have the big kid side and the little kid side. I actually was able to get it on camera because we were having family photos done. So that's so precious for me. But so he's has been afraid to do things. Now I have so many pictures of him in the water and crossing creeks and pulling logs and touching mud and doing all these things that he never had done before. And even though I think he would have eventually gotten there, I think because of this choice, he has gotten there so much faster, because he wasn't on so much sensory overload from the environment we were in. And he was, and then able to process things better and get there and be able to experience those and add those extra sensories into his orbit. And so, anyway, that's not really not what this podcast is so much about, except for that it's part of my life story. But that's a recap on our 2023, where instead of creating a New Year's resolution, I learned about having a word of the year. So there's no commitment. There's no, you have to do this. There's no, you know, there's no, you have to work out every day. There's no, you're eating this, you're not eating that, you're depriving yourself. There's only you in that day with that word and what it means for you. And it can evolve and it can change. Like I said, I just wanted my kids to be able to play with bubbles more often, or go out and do more, make sure we got out of the house that day, left our own yard. And it ended up being an opportunity to move. It ended up being an opportunity to experience things we never would have been able to experience, and a mindset shift that will take me personally for into the rest of my life. It's something I'm going to save forever. That thought process of saying yes to something and those fears and taking that out of the equation and being able to listen to myself um, was another huge part of it. That intuition of knowing that fear and your nervous system's trying to keep you safe, which is great, but being able to recognize that fear versus what is actually a true opportunity, and you need to take it because your life will never be the same again if you don't, if you do, or if you don't, you'll stay there forever. And so choosing a word of the year versus a New Year's resolution or a commitment to yourself is something I will probably do for many years because, like I said, it can evolve with you. There are no strings attached. There's no commitment. There's no expectation even of, what it would change, what you have to do. Because when I say we want to experience more, the last couple of months actually, well, last month and a half, we've been really lazy. We have not gone out on weekends and done things. And we actually really stayed home and just watched movies because it's winter time and it's time to rest and it's time to rejuvenate with the earth and our souls and our bodies. Being in the northern hemisphere, we don't get the sunlight we need. And so it's hard to be a little bit more motivated. And with school and everything too, our energy is spent in different ways. And so, but we didn't have to finish out the year strong or make the best of we could of the last week of chaos between Christmas and New Year's. And, I felt no pressure to do anything more because I knew every day in that present moment, if I felt it was right to say yes to something, I did. And I don't have to regret anything. There's not one thing I really regret saying yes to. I mean, there's a couple things. Obviously, life isn't regret free, but um, there are lessons I've learned on the other side of that, and learned, well, that's not for me. That's especially not for me right now in this season. Maybe or there's a reason why you shouldn't do that. So the word of the year has been very eye-opening for me. This was the first year I've done it. I know I've seen people who've done it for years, and I can't believe I really actually didn't hear about it. I've never been a big on New Year's resolutions anyway, just because they've always been tied to the world of weight loss or whatever. And I obviously am built with a different metabolism, and so that's never been a problem for me. Comes with its own problems, but it specifically weight has never been an issue for me. And I've never been one to really want to work out. Now I do. I do go to yoga twice a week, but that's for me. That was another experience. I said yes. This was something I've always, since high school, wanted to go to yoga once a week and be in class and all the things. And I've never just said yes to that and said, this is what I want my life to look like. This is what I want my lifestyle to look like. This is an experience I want to have. And so I said yes, and I just will never stop now. I've done it consistently for however long, 6, 7 months now. And I will never stop doing that. And I should have never not begun. That should have been something I said yes to years ago. And so it's so surprising to me that I hadn't done this before. Um, but it has been one of the best journeys ever to explore what that word meant for me. And like I said, it evolved for me too. And my understanding of what an extra experience is for us and what just this sort of lifestyle is for us. This is just who we are and what we do has been just an absolutely beautiful part. And it comes into with my healing journey. Like I said, so much of my anxiety and stress in our environment and being able to change that and heal from that. Yoga was actually a huge part of that for me on my healing journey because, well, for one, it's yoga. But I had the opportunity to join um, a, a hatha and breath class once a week is one of the classes I was attending. And it worked with the nervous system. And I love breath work. You've heard me talk about it before. I've done stuff at home. But being able to do it in that class setting was absolutely phenomenal. There were classes I went in, just the internal battle going on, the anxiety, the confusion, the stress, the depression, all of it, just the wheels, the hamster wheel in my head. And I would just come out a completely different person, completely rejuvenated, completely um able to face the week. And when I say that one 40, well, it was actually only 45-minute class, lasted me several days. It lasted me several days. I knew when I was ready to go back, I went every Friday. And so about every, excuse me, about every, Tuesday, Wednesday, I'd start to feel it, and it was time to go back and have that done. So definitely would implement more throughout the week on my own to carry that on, whether it was rewatching the class, or I also had a coach at the time who was helping me with a lot of Elan work, and that carried me through. But that in-person connection with that breath work was just absolutely phenomenal. And I had an amazing instructor who led the class as well. And I'm very grateful for him and everything he's done. So, um, yeah, it just on my healing journey, on in my trauma after everything I've been through. Those of you who have listened to any of the previous podcasts or have checked me out know my story and know where that I know everything I've been through, and it it's been a long time, a long journey of everything, and I've never come to this place after years of trying to figure out the mess. And so much of my 2023 was me saying, okay, I'm ready. I'm ready to I'm ready to be done with survival mode, and I'm ready to be a survivor and for it to be part of my past, not for it to be a part of me. And that's what 2023 was for me. And yeah, learning, I think that word experiences hit me so hard, and I knew it was the word for me because like I said, I was able to figure out what I actually wanted my lifestyle to look like and versus what I was living and what we were doing. It was just absolutely amazing. So I highly recommend it to everyone. I could go on and on because there's so many details, so many little things I can think of that we did and went through, and maybe I'll do more individual podcasts on those in the future and where that led. But so for 2024, I've had to pick a word, and I've been struggling a little bit because it's just has been a little bit different of a struggle. I'm having a lot of internal battles with myself. So, a lot of questioning, a lot of all the things, just learning so much more about what abuse is and what love is, and putting that into my worldview and figuring out on the spiritual journey of my own what I believe and what my beliefs are and how they all fit into what I know of how we should be treating each other and what that looks like. And so it finally just dawned on me, well, whether or not this is a whole nother year's battle or not, but I'm ready to learn what love is. Like, I want to explore what the word love means. And I want to dive into that in all the same aspects and ways I did with the word experiences. Um, I want to know what it means in every area of my life and every action, and down to my lifestyle and daily habits. I've obviously spent so much time learning what abuse is, right? And I don't think we can truly know what abuse or what love is without knowing what abuse is. Like, it's a good thing, especially coming from, if you've come from a high control religious background the way I have, where so much toxicity and abuse, especially towards women, is normal. And you're grown up from, I mean, I was in it my whole life. So for 31 years, I've been in that. I've been immersed in that heavily. Um, and surrounded by it, even though, I started deconstructing 2.5 years ago, probably, but I'm still surrounded by it in all. I mean, it's in our society as much as it's in these religious circles. And so in exploring that, I've learned the one side where, well, that's not loving, that's not loving, that's not what I want. It's time to explore what I do want and what I want for loving myself more, for what I want loving in my lifestyle even more, what I do want in loving my children as a parent, teaching them, caring for them. I shouldn't even say teaching, guiding them. I believe parents are only here to guide, as a guide, and what that looks like, and embodying love for humanity and what that looks like for my fellow human being, and practicing it more even in my day to day and with in my close circle, and just learning, and yeah, like just exploring that. And so, like, as much as, last year was about, just making sure my kids had more opportunities and experience to, go to the dollar store and buy bubbles, bring them home. I am more than sure this will evolve. By the end of this time next year, I will have grown in a way I never thought was possible, because I mean, when we're on a journey, that's all we can do, right? Like, there is no other option. So, and I struggled with that word a lot, because I first felt with connection. I wanted more connection, you know, with my kids on a level of connecting with them, talking with them, especially as they're older now, slowing down and building that time with them, and building that community and people around me, and connecting with others, which I think also has been hugely impacted by this podcast, because I've been able to meet so many women. I have so many podcasts pre-recorded that are guests that I love meeting these women. I love meeting these brave, fearless women who are just so vulnerable in sharing their stories and sharing these most intimate parts of them, just to help somebody else. They are not doing it, just to praise themselves or get a moment on the camera, because I can tell you there's very little reward in this. There's very little to be praised, that you get out of it. It's all just such vulnerable work that these women are doing, and to see them, it's just put a fire in me to have more of those connections and meet more people, more like-minded people on the same journey of, the way things have been going is not okay. The way we have been treating each other and humanity is not okay. These, common mindset practices, or mindsets in our society around treating each other because of XYZ, um, and gaslighting, and in the workforce and everything, just meeting more of these women who just have that integrity. It was a huge fire behind that word connection. And then I involved, like, and it's just, but it still it didn't completely settle with me. And so once I sat down and delved into what I wanted out of that more, and it was, I want that connection, yes, but I want to have that love. I want to have that love for each other, and not just connect with other people and feed off their energy and give them energy, but to feel that love for other people. Because, I mean, the greatest of these is love. Like, love is love is the ultimate emotion. It is something we all, I mean, we can all strive for. We all need more, And it's something I feel in my parenting and um, closer things, even to myself, the closer experiences I've had, I need to start viewing with rose-colored glasses, with glasses of love. I need to start having that patience and that reflection and just moving into that. And so there's obviously many facets of this that I know what this word means for me. And that's what I think is so cool about a word of the year too, is it's not this, if I do 10 push-ups today, I'm gonna have this muscle mass, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna work on my core, I'm gonna, all of this. Or if I go live on Facebook once a week, blah, 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 blah. This word can mean whatever I feel I need to be growing into in that moment, what I need to be experiencing in that moment, what I need to be filtering through something I'm thinking about, or a situation of, and holding that type of space, or even in everything I've learned with toxic situations, how to handle them in love, like um and how to make those boundaries more in a loving way, and how to speak in a loving way. And yeah, there's a lot. There's a lot. I'm excited to see where this word takes me for the year 2024. If it's anything like last year, it's gonna be a doozy. So, and not every year may be like that, but I know the internal growth will be, and that's always the best. Like, just, and that's what I love about meeting these people and going forward with this, is just so many other people who have that integrity of wanting to know the truth and do something about it, has just been so beautiful. Like, it's very cool. So anyway, that is my New Year's podcast. So yeah, came out of 2023 with just a newfound openness and a huge open-mindedness to all things on every level. And that has been amazing, to not have that, to not filter things through a judgment or my own worldview, and explore that. And yeah, just say yes to opportunities all the way from, you know, and my kids having rollerblades to going on a train ride, it's been absolutely amazing. Um Saying yes to getting up and doing the crazy thing um has been absolutely phenomenal. And yeah. I'm also entering a season of journaling again, I think, which has been huge. So obviously, with the word love, there's so much internal work I want to do on myself. Um, I've been asked some questions recently about certain events in my story that I'm like, oh, wow, I haven't actually delved into that specific moment. And it's actually a huge part of my story, and I can't answer that. And so I'm also looking forward to that. I'm looking forward into digging into some darker areas that I know trauma has blocked, and sitting with that. I did a lot of that. I did a lot of journaling in 2020, when I started this journey of knowing I wanted to be a speaker and knowing I wanted to be an author, and just saying yes to the thing. And took some courses, and it ended up in me writing thousands upon thousands of words in exposing a lot of stuff. And for me, just exposing it for me. And I'm sure there's parts of that I could share and publish now, but I've glanced through it over the years, but I've never actually sat down and read it. Um, but it's time to start doing that again and digging through some more aspects. And I am more than sure they will be shareable this time, in my relationship with my marriage, and um, going through that and leaving him, and things I felt, and some more conversations that were had with church and friends post leaving, and discussions of divorce, and all of that. And things I just, now that I know myself better, I know I've touched on this before, but I didn't grow up with, I mean, none of us did. We were in the 90s. You didn't grow up with feelings being prevalent. And so even to name feelings a lot of times is hard for me. And so digging through that now and being able to go back and say, I felt this way. I truly felt, XYZ, and to be able to put some more conscious thought into that, and to feel it and to feel it again now today and release it. So, be huge. Um, I closed out 2023 on, I guess actually it would have been Saturday night. It wasn't Sunday night, but Saturday night watching the video documentary Let Us Pray, and trigger lots of trigger warnings. Obviously, it has a lot that it talks about in there, but it brought up a lot of emotions for me that were just affirmations of needing to dig into some stuff and let go. And I'm just so excited for that. So if you haven't already, you can go on my website and grab, I have a journal for survivors. It's the exact steps that I've gone through over the years to go through those thoughts and feelings and release them. There's a morning and an evening routine that completely has kept me on track. At times, I've even forgot about it myself, and some friends have brought me back to it, even though it's mine. And going through that has helped me enter into journaling, just filling out those pages and those prompts in the morning and evening, and then doing a brain dump type of journaling where you just start writing even if you don't want to, and see what flows and see what emotions actually really there bothering you today. And then you can also, I've used, Target has several of them. I love them. There's one in particular, I think it's My Story or My Life Story. It's a blue cover with gold words. They've had it for years, and it has some of the best questions about you, about your childhood, about things you like, things you don't like. And I found that super healing several years ago because there were things I didn't even realize. I didn't know why I didn't like them, or why I did like them, or why I was told to like them, or why I was told not to like something. And that was super healing to actually dig into my own feelings around these things and whether or not the reasons behind that were true. And so that is something I really recommend as well. But the survivor's journal that I have on my website is free. You can just jump on there and download it. It's sent straight to your email, and you can download it, and you can print it or use it on your computer. I love to write, but when I'm journaling, my brain cannot keep up with my hand. If anybody's seen my handwriting, I write like a 3-year-old. And so I cannot keep up writing with my brain. So I've learned I can type really fast. And so I do a lot of my journaling on the computer. Plus then it's there and readable because yeah, my handwriting when I get to writing too fast is not readable at all. So that is something as well that I'm really excited to not dedicate to, not have a specific plan with, but definitely open up some journaling some more this year as well. So yeah, so I'm curious if what your guys' word of the year is. I've heard some really great ones. I've even seen where people have listed their words of the last 10 years they've had, and that's also amazing. So if you're up to it, follow, send me a message, and I'd love to hear them because I find them all inspiring, and just aspects I've never thought of myself to explore down the road. And so yeah, if you've ever done the word of the year, or what your 2023 looks like, and how you've entered 2024, and just remember it's not too late. Today's January 2nd, but it's not too late to leave what you need to leave in 2023, leave what you need to leave in yesterday, and start fresh today. Every day is fresh with a new beginning. And so I encourage you to not feel like you missed the boat, but that you can still make changes today and start fresh and make the choice and make the decision for what your intuition what you know inside of you is telling you you need to change and work on. So happy 2024. We'll catch you next time. Thank you for joining us today on the Fierce Voice podcast. I truly hope you found healing insight, tools, and a space held for you in this journey. We are all in this together, and you are not alone. You can find me, your host, Brigette Gildemaster, on all social media platforms, and check out my website at www.brigittegildemaster.com, where you can listen to past Fierce Voice episodes, check out my media features, find my books, and inquire about booking me for your next virtual or in-person event. My keynotes are impactful with real-life stories, actionable tools, and inspiration for healing after a life-altering experience. Or check out my workshop event to learn more about how you can prevent abuse in your area. Have a wonderful day, and we'll catch you next time on the Fierce Voice Podcast.